everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Glindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf. Only some technical difficulties running behind. I apologize for that, but welcome you to the May 4th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join. Johnny G got some cool 50s and early 60s original vinyl 45s out of my collection. We just opened up tonight's show with great alto saxophonist Earl Bostic. He's born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, had 104 releases on Sid Nathan's King record label. Goes way back, really, to 1946 with releases on the Gotham label, but the majority of his releases were on King Records. This was a regional hit for him. This was number 21 on KIOA in Des Moines, Iowa. A song originally done back in 1937 by the Wayne King Orchestra on, I guess, RCA Victor Records, but that's November 1957. Earl Bostic and his orchestra on King with a little song called Josephine. Well, let's start off here with the vocal portion, and we're going to go to a B-side to the great Dubs' second release on George Goldner's Gone record label. I'm sure you're familiar with the A-side, a song entitled Could This Be Magic, but let's flip it over. Great up-tempo tune on the B-side. This is with Richard Blandon on lead. We go back to August 1957. Give a listen to the Dubs on Gone with their tune called Such Lovin'.
Such lovin', such lovin', such lovin', baby, 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 lovin'. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. Such lovin' that you give to me, such lovin' I can hardly see. Such lovin', baby, baby, lovin'. So much love. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. So much love. Such lovin' that you give to me, such lovin' I can hardly see. Such lovin', baby, baby, lovin'. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. Such lovin', so much love. Such lovin', so much love. Such lovin', baby, baby, lovin'. So much love. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. So much love. Such loving that you give to me, such loving I can hardly see. Such loving, baby, 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 loving. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. Such loving that you give to me, such loving I can hardly see. Such loving, baby, baby, loving. So much love. I love you, baby, that's all I want you to know. So much love. Such loving, such loving, such loving, baby.
B-sides to open up the vocal portion of the Vinyl Treasure Show. The Dubs, Richard Blandon and the Dubs from August 1957. George Goldner's Gone record label. The B-side to Could This Be Magic, song entitled Such Lovin'. I wonder if they did that on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. I know they did Could This Be Magic, a record that my aunt purchased back in the summertime of 1957. But you can actually check out the Dubs video of that on YouTube. You can check it out. They are singing Could This Be Magic. That's the second of 7 on George Goldner's Gone record label. Let's continue here. And up next, a group called the Dukes. Now, there were 3 1950s groups that were called the Dukes. One out of Oklahoma, they recorded for Imperial Records. Another out of Columbus, Ohio, recorded on the Specialty label. I think they also combined with a couple people in Los Angeles to actually have that release on Specialty. And then this group that I'm featuring, they're from Los Angeles, California. They recorded 2 on the Flip label. They included former Robbins member Bobby Nunn and former Coaster member Leon Hughes, and also Billy Brown and Andre Goodwin and Bernard Carpenter. They were members of the West Coast Turbans and Sharp Tones. Anyway, let's give a listen to this 45. It's on the Flip label. I'm featuring the B-side of their first. We go to February 59 for the Dukes on Flip. It's called Groceries, Sir.
Walking down the street just the other day, stopped at the grocery store just across the way. I said, kind sir, won't you give me some of these?
I said, some of what, son?
Neck bones, please. Neck bones, 29 cents a pound. Neck bones, 29 cents a pound. Neck bones, 29 cents a pound. And I'm sure gonna get some more. He started moving down the counter toward the end. I saw him point at something, I began to grin. I said, kind sir, won't you give me some of these?
I said, some of what, boy?
Short ribs, please. Short ribs, do I like them? Short ribs, do I like them? Short ribs, do I like them? And I'm sure gonna get some more. Do I like them? Do I like them? Do I like them? And I'm sure gonna get some more. On my way home, I saw the vegetable man parked on the corner at his regular stand. I said, kind sir, won't you give me please?
I said, these what, boy?
Turnip greens. Turnip greens, 10 cents a bunch, boy. Turnip greens, 10 cents a bunch, boy. Turnip greens, 10 cents a bunch, boy. And I'm sure gonna get some more. I walked on home and I went through the door. I saw Pop standing in the middle of the floor. I said, look, Pop, what I got from the store.
I said, well, what you got, boy?
Grocery, sir. Neck bones, 29 cents a pound. Short ribs, do I like them? Turnip greens, 10 cents a pound, boy. And I'm sure gonna get some more. Do I like them? Yeah. Do I like them? Oh. Do I like them? And I'm sure gonna get some more. Do I like them?
I like neck bones.
I like them.
Elephant toe.
I like them.
Harmony.
Do I like them?
Grits.
Do I like them?
Rice.
A group called the Dukes. The Dukes out of Los Angeles, California. February 59 release, the first of two. They recorded on the Flip record banner. Groceries, Sir, is the name of that one. Trying to be a little bit like the Coasters, I guess. But actually, that's a pretty cool rockin' tune. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. A little bit discombobulated for a Saturday evening. I had to do a bunch of errands today, and I was out for a large portion of the early morning, so I didn't get a chance to really do my research as good as I wanted to, and I didn't get to set up tonight either, but I apologize for the late start, but let's continue here. You know we count off the music chronologically here on the 50s and early 60s edition, so up next is the debut 45 for the great Dominoes as we go to Sid Nathan's Gold Top Federal label for this one. Now, the Dominoes had two great lead singers that came out of this group, that being Clyde McPhatter, of course, went on to become the lead of the Drifters, and Jackie Wilson. But with their debut release, actually the B-side of their debut release, it's a great bass that is singing on this side, and his name is Bill Brown. So I'm featuring the intended B-side of their debut single as we go back to December 1950. December 1950 on Federal Records. Give a listen to the Dominoes and their tune called Chicken Blues.
If you don't like chicken, leave that hen alone. Well, if you don't like chicken, leave that hen alone. She'll give you so much chicken you cannot do a thing but moan. You're a big red rooster, but that don't mean nothing. Well, you're a big red rooster, but that don't mean nothing. if you mess around with her, she surely will clip your wings. Chicken, be shaking with your coffee, shaking with your wine, shaking, shaking, shaking till you lose your mind. If you don't like chicken, leave that hen alone. She'll give you so much chicken you cannot do a thing but moan. You holler, chicken, stay away from me. Fried chicken, chicken, stay away from me. Stewed chicken, chicken, stay away from me. Chicken, chicken, stay away from me. All chicken, chicken, stay away from me. Chicken be chicken in the morning, chicken afternoon. Chicken, 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 eat the harvest moon. Well, if you don't like chicken, leave that hen alone. She'll give you so much chicken you cannot do a thing but moan. Chicken, but moan. Chicken, but moan. Chicken.
Yeah, those are the Dominoes, early release by the Dominoes there on Sid Nathan's Federal record label, Gold Top Federal. For you collectors out there, December 1950 release. Chicken Blues is the name of that one. John G has the Chicken Blues. I've been eating that on this weight loss program. I mix it up. I had a steak for this evening, but only 4 ounces of the steak. But had chicken during the week, and John G has a little bit of the Chicken Blues. But anyway, the A side of this 45 was actually a big Billboard R&B hit. A song entitled Do Something For Me with Clyde McPhatter on lead. You know we will give a listen to that 45 next week. But anyway, let's continue here. We move from 1950. We go to 1954. Have a bunch of requests for tonight's show, so I'm happy to feature a lot of those requests for you tonight. Now, here's a group from Harlem, New York. This song requested by listener Sam Hill, as this group attended Seward Park High School in New York City. Morty Shad was their manager, not to mention the owner of the Harlem record label that this group eventually recorded for. They put out this single for the group in December of 1954. It features Milton Love on lead. So by request for Sam Hill, a great song here on the Harlem label. We go to December 54. Give a listen to the Concords and their tune called Candlelight.
So I'll wonder
That's a great tune there by the Concords, by request for Sam Hill. The Concords there, December 1954 on the Harlem record label. Candlelight is the name of that one. Not a cheapy 45. I have a nice copy on this one too. Milton Love on lead now. They would back up another artist on the label, Pearl Reeves, on another release. I do have that 45, I do. But Milton Love would then join the Solitaires on the Old Town label. He replaced Herman Curtis, who was in the Service, and then they eventually both were on the Solitaires when he finished his duty. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. Here we are in the year 1954, so let's stay there with this excellent two-sided 45 that I first heard on the Time Capsule show sometime in the early 1970s. This group consisted of Vernon Brown, Rudolph Morgan, Albert Ransom, and Richard Williams collectively. They were called the Highlights. It's with Leroy Kirkland and the orchestra. This one from October 1954. I have a stock copy of this on styrene, the purple label. It's on styrene. It plays pretty nice, though. These are the Highlights on OK with their tune called Zanzi.
Oh, you know I love you. Ooh, pretty baby, I need you. I love you. Need you all the time. Oh, pretty baby, I want your good loving. Really, I want you. Need you all the time. And when you left me, darling, I didn't know what to do. Now that you have came back, oh, the way you dressed made you look so fancy. Zanzi, that's what you are. Really, I love you, need you all the time. Your face is pretty, you're fine and blue. You are just my kind. Romeo was the one you killed. Oh, a lover like me just takes his time. But I really love you, darling. Really, I want you, need you all the time. Go now. I knew you were the jealous type. Ooh, from the day we met. 'Cause you thought you were always right. Now you know I need you so, but darling, I love you. Oh, how I crave your, need you all the time. Ooh, baby, ooh, Zanzi, oh, Zanzi, oh, you're
October 1954 release there for the Highlights on the OK record label, a song entitled Zanzi. Great two-sided 45, by the way. I Had to Love the flip side. That is a great tune also. And Styrene 45, as I mentioned, played pretty nice. You want the promo on that, the vinyl promo. I think it's vinyl. I'm not sure. Maybe some of those early ones might be on Styrene too. Not sure. But I remember buying this one. I went to the Allentown Watertown, Pennsylvania show. Mike Demersion had two mint copies of this 45. I was able to get the better one, and I guess a reasonable price on that 45. But anyway, that's a cool 45. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, up next, a request for Bopper Boy Warren. Warren, thank you for the request. Actually, I had one last week. I pulled it back because you weren't feeling well. You left. It was from 62, but I have it for tonight if you're around. But I will play it for you tonight as we get into the early 60s. But here's a request for Bopper Boy. It's a duet as we go back to Sid Nathan's Federal label. It's by Hank and Sugar Pie. Now, Sugar Pie is really Pilea Ballantyne, and she would later on record as Sugar Pie DeSanto in the 1960s, but Hank is really Henry Houston, and he would later become the lead singer for the Raindrops on the Spin It label, and also for the Cufflinks with an X, the later Cufflinks group that recorded on Duto. You may know their cover of So Tough, and they have another one that's really good on the Duto label. But here they are as Hank and Sugar Pie by request for Bopper Boy Warren. We go to April 1955, Federal Records for this one, Hank and Sugar Pie, song entitled I'm So Lonely.
I feel so lonely since you've been gone. My life's not worth living here alone. Why, baby, tell me why must I be alone? Maybe someday, baby, you'll be lonesome too, and then you'll know how you made me feel. Baby, oh baby, oh baby, how you hurt me so. Baby, ooh-wee, baby, you know I love you so. Maybe someday, baby, you'll be lonesome too, and then you'll know how you made me feel. Maybe someday, baby, you'll be lonesome too, and then you'll know how you made me feel.
As by request for Bopper Boy Warren, that is a duet by Hank and Sugar Pie, really Henry Houston and Sugar Pie DeSanto, April 1955 on the Federal label I'm So Lonely. I'm surprised, Warren. I have played that before on the show, and maybe you weren't listening at the time or whatever, but it's possible. But great request. Love to play this record because I like it. Now, this was their second release on the Federal label. With the previous release, they recorded as the Love Bugs. They were called the Love Bugs, and really Preston Love and the Love Bugs, but it was a duet there with Sugar Pie DeSanto. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue continue here. Got more requests to follow, of course, but here's a group that formed while attending Fremont High School in Los Angeles, California. They first recorded as the Miracles on the Cash label, but then they signed with Bob Ross's Ardell Records, spelled the first way, Aardell. Now, you may know their signature song from 1956, a song entitled The Way You Look Tonight, but this was their first release on the Ardell record label. It features Bal Poliuto on lead. Let's go to June of 1955 for the Jaguars. The Jaguars on Ardell Records, a song entitled Rock It, Davy, Rock It.
Well, Davy Rocket was a piano man. He started playing when the music began. Oh, he made himself a piano when he was only 3. He carved it out of a hickory tree. Oh, in all the east, well, he was the best. Then everybody started moving to the west. Davy didn't stop till he hit the coast, and then they thought this cat the most. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it now. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it well. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it well. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it. Rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it. Now he became a movie star. He bought himself a great guitar. Now he wasn't making so much jack. He bought a Palomino and a Cadillac. Well, rock, 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 rock it, Davy, rock it. 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 You just can't miss. You find that those who reach to the top have got the stuff that just won't stop. Well, rock, 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 rock the Davy, rock it. 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 Rock, rock, rock.
That's the first release for the Jaguars on the Ardell record label there. Rock It, Davy, Rock It is the name of that one, June 1955 on the Ardell record label. Now, this group would go on to have other releases on the Ebb label and Original Sound Records and also the Rendezvous record label. Now, eventually, Ardell, they changed the logo. Instead of Aardell, they changed it to the letter R-Del. So if you have that 45 by the Jaguars on The Way You Look Tonight on the yellow label, it will have a big red R-Dell. I have that one on red vinyl. Pretty cool looking 45. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And let's stay in the year 1955, and we stay out on the West Coast. This time, Jake Porter's Combo record label for a pretty rare 45 on the Combo label. It's easy to find this. You collectors out there, you can easily find this on the second press Combo with the larger print. But the small print, it's really hard to find this one. And it's on the purple Combo because it came out later than the true, well, this number 75 Combo. Porter didn't issue this record until later, so they were printing stuff on the purple paper at the time. So you won't find this on the red shiny label. So people thought it was a reissue from the start, but it really wasn't, not with the small print. But this one's Combo 75. It's on the purple label. The original comes on the purple label. We go to September of 55. The group is called the Savoys. Combo Records. It's called Darling, Stay With Me.
Each time I see you, much to my surprise, I look at you, darling, tears come to my eyes. What would it mean if I guess I know I'll never have you? Dreaming for you, darling, I hope my dreams come true. Someone said you love me, tell me if it's true, darling. Did you say you love me? Darling, please say you love me. Just say you love me. Well, what will make my heart feel happy and gay? And you can drive my troubles away. If you would only stay here with me and make my dreams come true. Darling, did you say you love me? Darling, please say you love me. My heart feels happy and gay, and you could drive my troubles away. If you would only stay here with me and make my dreams come true. Darling, I love you. I always loved you. Won't you please come back to me and make my dreams come true?
Sounds of the West Coast here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Featured it on the original combo label, actually the small print combo record label, the Savoys, September 1955. Darling, Stay With Me is the name of the tune as we continue here on Vinyl Treasures. And Wynn's disc jockey Alan Freed would play this next 45 quite a bit on his radio program. Now, he also received writer credit on the 45. And for you collectors out there, this record comes two ways. Now, the true first press came out on sort of, I guess we can call it a block print Old Town label with ropes. Then the pressing plant ran out of paper and they used some old stock. The old style labels were then pressed up. Those are, if you would think they were first presses, they're not. They're really second presses, but they look cooler to me for some reason. So I like the old style, Old Town copy of this, but I'm featuring the first press, which is the block print. It's the first of three releases that this gal did on High Weiss's Old Town record label, and for each one of those releases on Old Town, she had three different groups backing her up. And we're going to go back to December of 1955. This is the first one. A group called the Supremes are backing her up. This is on High Weiss's Old Town record label. Give a listen to Ruth McFadden and the Supremes. Really love this tune from December 55, rolled into early 1956. Ruth McFadden and the Supremes with Darling. Listen to the words of this song.
Darling, I lay the whole night through crying alone just for you, because I know I've done you wrong. Darling, give me another chance.
romance and listen to the words of this song. If you would come and kiss me, dear, and tell me that your heart still cares, things are like they were before. I'd never ever let you cry and love you till the day I die, and we'll be one forevermore. Darling, please let me hold your hand. Please say you'll understand and listen to the words of this song. If you would come and kiss me, dear, and tell me that your heart still cares, and things are like they were before. I'd never ever let you cry and love you till the day I die, and we'll be one forevermore. Darling, please let me hold your hand. Please say you'll understand and listen to the words of this song.
Released in December 1955, Ruth McFadden and the Supremes, High Wise's Old Town record label. That's a classic tune by her. Listen to the words of this song, the name of that one. Now, she has two more releases on Old Town Records. One is called Two in Love. Not an easy record to find. The Royal Tones are backing them up on that one. And the other one, I think that's even harder, is a song entitled Schoolboy, and the Harp Tones are backing her up on that one. And I have those other 45s. We'll feature them here. I think, featured them here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's continue here. And we move in the year 1956 for this group out of New York City, although the lead singer, he's originally from Franklin, Virginia. Now, this is the only release for the group on Sid Nathan's Deluxe record label. It was written by the lead singer. He was 20 years old at the time, back in December of 1956. His name is Carlton Langford, and another great two-sided 45s. Let's go to December 56 on Deluxe Records. Give a listen to the Blue Chips with this cool tune, a song entitled Appointment with Love.
I've got an appointment with love. Bow, 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 wow. No, I won't worry no more. Bow, 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 wow. My girl, she told me that she'll wait. Appointment with love. Appointment with love. No, I won't worry no more worry, no more tears. Happy, 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 yes, sirree. I got an apartment with love, apartment with love. Look at him, apartment with love.
They're called the Blue Chips. Blue Chips on Deluxe Records. Sid Nathan's Deluxe Records have Biopromo. I think I actually have a stock copy of that too. Johnny G needs his head examined. 2 copies of that record. December 56. And Carlton Langford on lead there, Appointment with Love. Johnny G's got Appointment with You, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. And we are in the year 1956. Got a request for listeners. Ron and Dorothy tuned in up in the state of Michigan. They requested this group from Inglewood, New Jersey, release 7 on B. Castlin's Hull label. This is the B-side to their debut single, and they were named after the Avon River in England, and it features Bob Lee on lead. This is with Tico Wilshire and his orchestra. We go back to May of 56. Give a listen to the Avons on Hull and their tune called Our Love Will Never End.
Bom ba da da ba, bom ba da ba, bom ba da da.
Our love will be together, will never end. It will always be, and no matter what the weather, we'll be together, just you and me. We walked down the aisle, side by side. I looked at her, she looked at me. The people were waiting for you and me. I know this was it, our love. We'll be together, we'll never end. It will always be.
As by request for the doo-wop couple listening up in Michigan. It's great, a couple that love a vocal group harmony. I wish Barbara would like it as much as I do. And I know Warren, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if your spouse likes the music as well as you do, but Barbara likes, she's from the, she says, I go for the 60s. I don't know about the 50s. Well, anyway, she doesn't know what she's missing. But anyway, those are the Avons by request for Ron and Dorothy, May 1956 on the Hull record label. Our Love Will Never End. For you collectors out there, should be on the Black Hull label with silver print. And later on, the label changed to the Red. Johnny G, if you're a record geek like me, you kind of take note of all these cool-looking labels, even on the 78s. That's why I continue to buy 78s, which I'm not featuring any for tonight. I will have some next week. So stay tuned as we continue here. We are in the year of 1956. Now, the first time I heard this next song was on a radio station, a local station here in Westchester County, WARY, transmitting from Westchester Community College. It really didn't go out that far, but I was able to pick it up because I'm really close to that college, that community college. And George Doo-Wop Tompkins, he was the host of a radio show there, and I was 13 or 14 years old at the time. I forget where I found out about the radio show, maybe in Bim Bam Boom magazine. They would have like a write-up about shows you can tune into on the radio, local shows throughout the U.S. that you can tune in. So I think I saw it there. But this group, they're out of Hartford, Connecticut, and this was their lone release that came out on the Flare X label. What a cool named label, Flare X Records, which is out of New York City, written by group member Kenneth Newkirk, but it features the lead of Stanley Sheets. He's on lead. We go to December of 1956 for the Orbits. The Orbits on Flare X and their tune called Message of Love.
We are going to sing a message of love to you.
A group called the Orbits. The Orbits on the Flare X record label, December 1956 release. Song entitled Message of Love is the name of that one. I think the collectors back then would call it Oddball Press or something like that, because it wasn't really it was one of those one-off groups that had just one release that back then in the 1950s. Anyway, what are you going to do? Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. We are in the year 1956. Have another request for that doo-wop couple, Ron and Dorothy from Michigan. Now, this record was mentioned in the December 1st, 1956 edition of Billboard magazine. It said, in the blurb that I found, it said, Carl Edelson, formerly bookkeeper of Apollo Records, has formed the Club label in New York City and issued his first releases. One of those releases is by Jay Saunders, a 14-year-old on the horn and I don't know about this, North Dakota Bob, maybe you do, on the Horn and Hard Dart TV show. What show is that? I have no clue. Anyway, there's a picture of him, and from looking at the picture, he does look like a teen of 14-year-olds, but of a 14-year-old. But on the record, he doesn't sound like a teen. He sounds older, and Charlene agrees with me that he does sound older. But I'm going to feature the A side of this 45, and there's a vocal group backing him up, probably the Duvals that recorded on this club label. So let's give it a spin. This is the intended A side. I think he's a white teenage kid with a vocal group backing him up on the club label. This goes out to Ron and Dorothy, November 1956. Jay Saunders. It's called I'm Still in Love with You.
You went away and broke my heart. I never thought that we could part. It's over now and I am blue. I'm still in love with you. Your kisses meant so much to me. What have I done so carelessly? It's over now and I am blue. I'm still in love with you. My nights are long when I'm alone with just your memory. With all these things I must confess, darling, I'm never free. I need your love. Don't be unkind. What can I do to change your mind? It's over now and I am blue. I'm still in love with you. All over now and I'm in love with you.
Doesn't sound like he's 14 years. Does this sound like a 14-year-old? Not to me, it doesn't. Jay Saunders there, and a vocal group, probably the Duvals, because the Duvals also recorded I Need That 45 by the Duvals on this label. But Club Records there, November 56, that's the intended A-side. Jay Saunders, I'm Still in Love with You, going out to Ron and Dorothy. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and we move into 1957 for this next 45, which was another Gus Gossard favorite, because I first heard it on the Gus Gossard Show. Really is an ultra rare 45 on Ben Smith's Extra label, but I used to tune in to Gus Gossard in the early 70s when he was on WPIX FM. He used to do a Saturday night and a Sunday night show. I saw this ad, I think, on WPIX TV. He sat there with this leather jacket and had like cobwebs, and he had a pile of 45s. That's what I saw, and that's what kind of made me tune in, and it was a great tuning into his show because you heard all these great tunes. He kind of mixed it up with common records and rare records like this one, because this is not an easy record to find. From 1957, it's on Extra. The group is called the Sonics. The song is called Once in a Lifetime.
Once in a lifetime, you're sweet child, the one you're dreaming of.
All your life you've been searching to find someone to love.
Now that you found her, build your life around her, make her yours to have and to hold. Your love only one time, that one in a lifetime. Only once will you say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Ultra rare 45s here for a Saturday evening. That's not an easy record to find. Johnny G paid for that one. Yes, I did. The Sonics, 1957, Ben Smith's Extra record label. That is, if you want to collect an expensive label, you collect the Extra record label. Once in a Lifetime is the name of that tune. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We are in the year of 1957. It's a request for listener Matey Campboy, listening over in California. She wanted to hear this group's second release on Bess Berman's Apollo label. They formed at Charles Evans High School in Manhattan, and this tune, written by the baritone of the group, his name is Bobby Thomas. It features Alton Campbell on lead. So by request from Matey Campboy, we go to June of 57. These are the Cellos on Apollo with their tune called Under Your Spell. Whoops, not that one.
Do, do, do.
You came in my life and broke my heart in two. I'm under your spell. Okay.
Yes, for Matey Campoy over in California. The Cellos, Alton Campbell on lead for that one. June 1957 release. Under Your Spell is the name of that one on Bess Berman's Apollo record label. That was the B-side to their second release. Actually, the follow-up to Rang Tang Ding Dong, I'm the Japanese Sandman was kind of like a corny novelty tune called The Juicy Crocodile. But the flip side, that is the better side in my opinion. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Next, a group from Manhattan's, a group that met while attending Manhattan's Industrial Arts High School. Their debut 45 came out on Morty Craft's Melba label in 1956. They followed it up with this release in November of 1957 on B. Caslin's Hull record label. It features the high falsetto lead of Marshall Samples. We go to Hull Records for this one, November 57. Give a listen to the Legends with their tune called Legend of Love.
Oh, my darling, will you listen? Listen to this legend of love. Legend of love. It happened with two, a boy and a girl, and as far as they knew, love was rare like a pearl. They met and they wandered, boy oh boy and a girl. Then down the river to love and to love, looked at each other, oh, and fell from above. The arrows of Cupid and the meaning of love. Yes, the arrows of Cupid and the meaning of love. Darling, we could be so happy if you'll just take love's advice. Yes, darling, we can find love together in God's paradise. Your love is real, yea, yea, but so far above. So it is, so it shall always be. Just a legend of love. Yes, darling, just a legend of love. So if you're lonely and longing for love, all the angels in heaven can bring you this love of a legend of love, a legend of love, a legend of
Marshall Samples on lead for that one. Those are the Legends on the Hull record label from November 1957. Legend of Love is the name of that one. That record sold, I think, better in the early 1960s because Hull Records reissued it on like that like beige, the later press from, you get some of those Shep and the Limelights, not the Daddy's Home Hulls, but the later ones where it was like the beige label, because that record sold in the Times Square record store. I think he had quantity or they printed them up, Hull Records, but it became a bigger hit later on. Not really a hit, but sold more back then. Johnny G here, babbling on for a Saturday evening. We are in the year 1957, and let's head to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for this next group. this group ended up recording by winning a school talent contest. They were granted an audition with Woody Hinderling's Bullseye record label. In early 1956, they released their first record on the Bullseye label. It was called Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Wop. But then in 57, they signed with Joe Auerbach's Phoebe label for this release, and I'm featuring the intended B-side of the 45, written by two group members, Leon Gray and William Germany. It features Eddie Jackson on lead, this one from July 57, on the Phoebe label out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They're called the El Capris. The song is called Your Star.
No, no, no.
Stay.
I'll never leave you. No, no, no. I want to see you because you're the girl of my dreams. No, no, no. I guess I'm loving you. No, no, no. I guess I'm loving you. Oh yeah. Stay the girl of my dreams. Day after day, I hear myself saying that to the girl for which I was praying. I know it's true, I could live my life through with my heart full of love for you. No, 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 I guess I'm loving you. No, 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 I guess I'm wanting you. Oh yeah, stay the girl of my dreams. Day after day, I hear myself saying that to the girl for which I was praying. I know it's true, I could live my life with my heart full of love for you. No, 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 I guess I'm loving you. No, 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 I guess I'm wanting you. Oh yeah, stay the girl of my dreams. No, no, no.
Of course, that was not the El Caprice. I'm telling you, all the weight loss is probably gone to my head. Not a good day for me today. Anyway, I lost 63 pounds, so, I still got a little bit more to go. But anyway, I messed that up. That actually was a request for Dorothy and Ron of Michigan on Jerry Winston's Onyx label, the group called The Impressors. That was the A-side of their debut single on Onyx Records, Sammy Lowe and the Orchestra. October 57, a song entitled No, No, No. So I messed that up for you guys. I apologize for that. You have to forgive your DJ for tonight. But when their next release would end up on the MGM subsidiary Cub Records, because in 1958, Onyx went out of business. Jerry Winston sold all his masters to MGM Records, and they gave him the reins to manage the new label that their new subsidiary label. They were going to feature new talent on. It was called Orbit Records, but they quickly were sued by an already established Orbit label, and then they had to rename the label Cub Records. So the second release came out on Cub Records. A great record, another two-sided record. Loneliness is one side, I forget the other. But that one there, I apologize for messing it up for Dorothy and Ron, the Impressors with No, No, No. That was a no-no for Johnny G. Now we're going to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the Phoebe record label from July of 57 and give a listen to the El Capris with Eddie Jackson on lead and their tune called Your Star.
There's your star, my star, far
I'll make a wish, my darling, that all our wishes they'll never die. There's your star, my star. Come true.
Yeah, they're the El Capris out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on Joe Auerbach's Phoebe record label, July 1957 release. Your Star is the name of the tune. Let's continue here. We move into 1958. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. Lots of comments on this 45, and I never get tired of this group from Cincinnati, Ohio. Posted the original 45 on Facebook. Originally came out on Jerry Herman's Note label out of Indianapolis, Indiana. They had two releases on the Note label. They would then be picked up for national distribution on Leonard Chess's Checker label, featuring the B-side to their first. We go back to July of 1958. It features Leroy King on lead. And, of course, I'm talking about the Students. These are the Students on the original label, Note Records, and a B-side, a song entitled Every Day of the Week.
Just as long as it's for me, any old
That's Leroy King and the Students there on the Note label, featured on the first label, released in July of '58. Would be picked up a month later on the Checker record label. A tune there called Every Day of the Week for you collectors out there. If you have it on the Checker label, the true first press in August of '58 is the print is really small for the Students at the bottom of the label. It's really small. Later on, it came out. This was a constant seller because it was featured on many compilation albums. Was played on the radio. Was played in '61. It hit the charts again on the Argo record label. It actually charted. And the first time I heard this record was on a Murray the K compilation LP. My aunt used to purchase many compilation LPs, and in '62 she bought one called Murray the K's Gassers for Submarine Race Watchers, and that song was on that album amongst others. And I would tell her, I said, Mary, where can we go watch the submarines race? I didn't know what that was back then. Murray the K with all those double meanings that a lot of those disc jockeys back then on AM radio did that. Anyway, John G. babbling on here. Let's continue. Here we are in the year of 1958. We go back to the requests for Ron and Dorothy, the doo-wop couple in Michigan. Now, this group is out of Cincinnati, Ohio. They first signed with Sid Nathan's Deluxe label in '56, put out 3 records in '56 on Deluxe, and all the group members worked as truck drivers for a local business, so they decided to name themselves after drivers, hence the name The Drivers. After one release on RCA, the group signed with Lynn Records out of Rochester, New York, and they put out this 45 co-written by the lead singer. His name is Willie Price. So by request for Ron and Dorothy, we go to June of '58. Give a listen to The Drivers on Lynn, a song entitled A Man's Glory.
Boom, boom, glory, ba 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 boom, glory, ba 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 boom, glory, ba ba boom, glory, ba 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 ba.
A man's glory is someone he cries for. A man's glory, someone he dies for. Someone who's dependable, not the one who's sinful.
Ba ba ba
A man's glory, someone he cherishes, love that love him will never perish. He's never alone when there's love to keep him strong. If he ever finds her, oh, his life will be complete. He prays for his glory and true love for him to the end.
ba ba ba.
Someone he's proud of, needs when he's lonely, to love and be loved. He's never alone when there's love to keep him strong.
Boom, boom, glory, ba 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 boom, glory, ba 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 boom, glory, ba ba boom, ba 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 ba.
Glory.
Yeah, by request for Ron and Dorothy. Nice tune there. Haven't heard that one in a while. The Drivers Willie Price on lead. It's on Lynn Records out of Rochester, New York, June 1958. A Man's Glory is the name of the tune. They would have one last recording in 1961 on the Drive label, and not an easy record to find either for that one. As we continue here on the Saturday edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show, well, I don't do it any other day. It's got to be Saturday. And let's go back to New Haven, Connecticut, to Marty Kugel's Click label this time. Another great two-sided 45 by X5 Satin's lead singer Fred Paris and the Scarlets. Now, this Scarlets... the Scarlets, well, that was the first group that Fred was his first group on the Red Robin record label. But this is, I think, a new group of Scarlet members, and I'm playing the intended B-side of the 45. I think this was another record that Gus Gossett would play. I know he played the flip side here, a song called The Voice. I think that's the name of it, if I recall. But anyway, great two-sided record. This is the intended B-side. It's from January 58. Fred Paris and the Scarlets on Click. It's called She's Gone, parentheses, with the Wind.
She's gone with the wind. We'll never meet again. Her love, it was divine. Days are lonely, stars never shine. She's gone with the wind. I remember, she was my one desire. I will always love her, for she's the girl who sets my world on fire. Each night as I pray, seems as though I hear her say, lonely nights and lonely days will be with you always. She's gone with the wind. This is the end of my story, for a fool's play and no glory. I want her so badly. Since she's gone, I miss her madly. She's gone.
That group out of New Haven, Connecticut, Marty Kugel's Click record label there, Fred Paris and the Scarlets. Actually, it says in parentheses, originally the Five Satins, but they're really not the Five Satins. That's like a new group that he put together. January 58, She's Gone, parentheses, with the Wind. On the Click record label. Let's continue here. Up next, request for listener Stephen Kahn. Stephen Kahn requested this a song here, wanted to hear a group called the Sonnets. Now, I know of two releases that this group has. Their first one on the Herald label in 57, then this second one, which Stephen requested on the Lane label. And there was a blurb in the June 2nd, 1956 edition of Billboard that the group is out of Baltimore, Maryland. So by request for listener Stephen Kahn, we go to March of 58. Give a listen to the Sonnets, Sonnets, the Sonnets on Lane, a song entitled Angel of My Dreams.
Oh, angel of my dreams, won't you be mine to have and to hold, to love, love, love and enjoy? Oh, angel of my dreams, won't you please be mine? Oh, needs a girl, and girl needs a boy. You're the girl I need to love forever, evermore. Oh, angel of my dreams, won't you please be mine? Well, at nights when I go to bed and mornings when I wake, I see only you. Oh, I can't help but think of you and how much I need you. Oh, you were meant to be the angel of my dreams. You have heard my plea. Do not deny me. Oh, can't you see? Oh, you are my angel and not just the angel of my
By request for Stephen Kahn, those are the Sonnets. March 1958 release on the Lane record label. Lane Records for that one, Angel of My Dreams. That one there pressed by Capitol Records, I think. That HB dash, I think that's a Capitol Matrix number. John G here for a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Let's continue here. And this next group, they're out of Newport News, Virginia. That's the same place that the Great Five Keys originated from. And the listeners Dorothy and Ron from Michigan asked if I could feature a couple of their sides that came out on the Warner Brothers record label, which I gladly will. Now, their first release came out on the Epic label in 1956, but then they signed with Warner Brothers Records for 3. They put out 3 on Warner Brothers. I'm featuring the A side of their first. This one charted regionally. This was a number 9 record on WGH in their hometown of Newport News, Virginia. It features Edwin Hall on lead. Again, Leroy Kirkland and the orchestra here. Let's go to November of 58. Give a listen to the Chateaus on Warner Brothers, a song entitled Satisfied.
Just as much as I want you,
I'll be satisfied.
when I think that you're sincere,
I'll be satisfied.
just to know that you are near.
I'll find happiness.
Oh my dear, will you confess that you need me, that you want me, just as much as I want you? I'm not the jealous type, I'm not the kind to gripe, but there's one thing I want you to know. My
Those are the Chateaus for Ron and Dorothy in Michigan, November 58. That's the debut. That's their first release, not their debut single. Chateaus on Warner Brothers with Satisfied. Hopefully Johnny G keeping you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners, satisfied for a Saturday evening as we continue. Here we are in the year 1958. Now, on the last 50 show, I played a request for listener Matey Campboy. She requested the Frankie Greer Quartet out of Philadelphia on the Swan label. I played Oh Gloria for her. That was the intended A-side. But let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the B-side of the record before I file it back down. In the No Humidity basement, this one from November 58. Swan Records, the Frankie Greer Quartet, with a song entitled Lonesome for You.
Lonesome for you.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That is the Frankie Greer Quartet for November 1958. Lonesome for You. Yes, I am. That one there on the Swan record label out of Philadelphia, PA. Let's continue here. Let's move into the year 1959 with a request for Matey Campboy, listening in California. She requested The Channels on Bobby Robinson's Fury record label, and after The Channels released Altar of Love on the Gone record label in 58, the group became disenchanted and broke up. There wasn't a hit. George Goldner did not promote that record, or they felt that Goldner did not promote that record well enough, so it kind of like disenchanted the group, and they just split up. They still remained friends. Now, after a number of months, lead singer Earl Lewis met up with the original bass of The Channels, Clifton Wright, and decided that maybe they should record again. So they recruited a new revised group of Channels. I think they were called the Starlights, I think is what Earl Lewis said in that. I read a book there was an article, a long article that Earl Lewis was interviewed about his career. And they went back to Bobby Robinson, and the result was this release on his Fury label, and Matey requested the intended B-side of the 45, a great ballad. This one charted here in New York City, number 38 on WMGM in New York City. So by request for Matey, this one from January 59, The Channels, Earl Lewis and The Channels on Fury, a song entitled My Love Will Never Die.
I know I love you, and I really love you so. Need you, and I'll never let you go, honey. My love for you
It's Earl Lewis and the Channels by request from Matey Campboy. November 59 release. No, January 59. Actually, it was kind of like Charlene and I had a disagreement on the release dates. It was kind of mixed up because really the true first press of this has Fury in really small print, but Ferdy Gonzalez was, I don't know if he was correct with the release date. I thought it was more in 59 because this was reviewed in Billboard at least in 59. But anyway, it is a great tune by the Channels. My Love Will Never Die. That one there on the Fury record label. Let's continue here. Got one more 45 out of the year of 1959. This was another Gus Gossard favorite, as this group formed while attending high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. This was played a lot on WHIL 1430 AM out of Boston, Massachusetts. It's the debut single for a group called the Delicardos. This one from September 59. Give a listen to the Delicardos on LG, a song entitled Letter to a Schoolgirl.
Dear schoolgirl, I'm writing you this letter in the words of a song. And here's the reason why. I love you so much, my darling. I want the memory to linger on. Dear schoolgirl, the day we met, I thought it was infatuation, but when I held you tight, I felt a strange sensation. I love you so, but I'm afraid you're too young. Sigh so tenderly when I hold your hand in mine. The feeling is so divine. I love you so, but I'm afraid you're too young. Really be in love. I'm 7 times 3, and that makes 21. That's why I was afraid to walk you home. You're sweet, you're kind, you're lovely as a queen, but you are only sweet 16. Yes, darling, I really love you so. Darling, I'll never ever let you go. Darling, when you put your hand in mine, the feeling, darling, the feeling is so divine. Darling, I really love you so. Disappointments are all through life. That's the way life goes. Let you go. And so I'll close. Sincerely yours.
Yeah, that was a Gus Gossard favorite. He played it all the time on his oldie show, the Delicardos, September 59, Letter to a Schoolgirl. It's on the LG record label. They followed this release up with others on United Artists, Shell, and Imperial. Became very soulful later on with those releases. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. As we continue, we move into the year 1960. Let's head back to Los Angeles, California, as 3 members of this group previously sang with the 16's on the Flip label. 2 of them were Kenneth Sinclair and Darrell Lewis, who wrote this tune. The other was the lead singer. His name is Jimmy Smith. As we go to the Titan label for this release, we go to July of 1960 for a group called The Elements. The Elements on the Titan label, and their tune called Lonely Hearts Club.
Do do do
They're called the Elements there. I think this record also comes out as the Elgins on the Titan record label later on, but that's July 1960, the Elements on the Titan label. Jimmy Smith on lead, Lonely Hearts Club is the name of that one, and after this release they would change their name to the Elgins with releases on Flip, on Titan, and on the Lumtone record label. Became very soulful transitional group there for sure. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are into the early 1960s now, and a few weeks ago I played the A-side of this 45, came out on Teddy McRae's and Eddie Wilcon's Enrica label, or is it Wilcox? I don't know. Jaji can't type either. Enrica Records, and they were called the Serenadettes. I think that's how you say it. The Serenadettes, probably managed by George Kerr, who, by the way, requested me as a Facebook friend. Honored to be a Facebook friend of George Kerr, lead singer of the Serenaders, and also managed some cool soulful groups through the years, and made his impact on this music. But I think because he co-wrote this song and he managed this group, what did I say? I played the intended A-side of this called Boyfriend. So let's give a listen to the B-side, which to me sounds like it was recorded earlier than 1961, but it says it was released in July of 61. The Serenadettes is the name of the group, Enrica Records. It's called The Big Night. Sounds earlier than 1961 to me. Sounds like more of a 1958 release. Those are the Serenadettes from July of 1961. The Big Hurt is the name of that one on the Enrica record label. As we continue, here is a request for listener Stephen Kahn. As we go to Gil Snapper's Worthy label, this group is called the Interiors. They recorded 2 on the Worthy label. This was written by group member Leroy Broswell, who I am willing to bet is the lead singer. So by request for Stephen Kahn, we go back to September 61 for the Interiors. I hope I lined this up right. My copy is so slightly off center, but I hope I lined it up right. So anyway, this goes out to Stephen Kahn, the Interiors on Worthy, a song entitled Echoes.
Up on the mountain, down in the valley, there my charm. Don't ever leave me, darling, not ever. I'll always want you here forever.
As by request for Stephen Kahn, those are the Interiors. The Interiors, September 1961, the second of two they recorded on the Worthy label. Echoes is the name of that one. Didn't sound too bad. Again, it was slightly off-center. Purchased that one. I think I have another copy somewhere in the No Humidity basement. I'm amazing myself with records that I have in doubles and triples and whatnot. But anyway, the Interiors on Worthy with Echoes, and there's another cool record on this Worthy label, Lincoln Fig and the Dates. What a cool name that is for a group. I think they do a song called Way Up, and I forget the flip. Both sides good on that one. Get that one on a future Vinyl Treasure show. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Up next is a request for Bopper Boy Warren. Ashley Warren, this one and the next record are two requests that you submitted, and it's a rare white group out of Queens, New York. Now, this is their only release, came out on Morty Craft's Forum label. Now, the group consisted of Eddie Savin, Roy Weinstein, Jerry Lubin, and Artie Shaw. Collectively, they were known as the Delrons, as we are in the year 1961. So by request for Bopper Boy Warren, the Delrons on Forum, with a song entitled This Love of Ours.
Time goes by each and every day, but my love for you, my darling, will never fade away. This love of ours, this love of ours, this love of ours is a true love affair. I asked you to go steady to show how much I care. Well, it's 6 months today, my dear. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Some said that this love of ours would never ever be. It's been 6 months today, my dear. It will last for eternity. This love of ours will go on and on. 6 months today, my dear, brings back memories of this love of ours. I hope, I pray, 6 months from today we can share memories of this love of ours. This love of ours. This love of ours. This love of
By request for Bopper Boy Warren, a rare 45 on the Forum label from 61. They're called the Delrons. and their tune's called This Love of Ours. As Johnny G is now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. We're 5 minutes into Vinyl Treasure Overtime, so we'll go for a few more here. Got a few more requests to go. Actually, a twin spin request for Mr. Bopper Boy, as I had this for him to play a couple weeks ago, but we're going to feature it tonight. And this group is out of Los Angeles, California, and they were formed by Rochelle Henderson. Now, their debut single came out on Hunter Hancock's Swingin' label in 1960, which turned out to be their biggest hit. I'm sure many of you know the tune. It was called Once Upon a Time. Now, Warren requested the follow-up, which charted regionally. This was number 41 on KYA in San Francisco, California. It features the lead of Johnny Wyatt. We go back to April of 61 by request for Warren. Here is Rochelle and the Candles on the Swingin' label, a song entitled So Far Away.
I want to love you, baby, but you're so far away. I want to hold you, baby, but you're so far away. Darling, darling, when are you coming home? I want to squeeze you, baby, but you're so far away. I want to kiss you, baby, but you're so far away. Darling, darling, when are you coming home? You left me in September to return, I don't know when. But all I want is to hold you. But darling, I can't say when. I want to thrill you, baby, but you're so far away. I want to please you, baby, but you're so far away. Darling, darling, when are you coming home?
February,
That's a cool tune by request for Bopper Boy Warren. Rochelle and the Candles, April 1961. That's their follow-up to as Once Upon a Time on Hunter Hancock's Swingin' record label, song entitled So Far Away. Johnny Wyatt was originally from Texarkana, Texas, has other releases that followed this one on the Challenge label, and Johnny Wyatt opted for a solo career. Unfortunate that Johnny Wyatt passed away December 1983, was only 45 years old. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, on the last 50 show, I featured this group out of Baltimore. Their first release on the YRS label was a song called I'm So Lonely. Well, that was from November of 61. They followed it up with this release from February of 1962. Let's give it a spin here. They're called the Gold Tones. The Gold Tones on YRS, a song entitled Without You.
Of all the land, I'll still be an unhappy man without you. Without you, I know the days and nights won't be
be too long for me and my empty arms without you, girl, without you. There would be no need for me to go on, living this way from day to day. Darling, if you would go on, every day would be so lonely and sad for me. And I won't be so bad without you. Without you. There would be no need for me to go on, living this away from day to day. Darling, if you were gone, every day would be so lonely and sad for me. And I won't be so bad without you, girl, without you.
That's the second of two for the Gold Tones out of Baltimore, Maryland on the YRS record label, February 62 release. Without You is the name of the tune. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue here in the year 62. We go to Chicago, Illinois for this next group. Consisted of George Madison and Perry Cobb, who wrote the song, along with James Bright, Charles Lindsay, and Lewis Williams. It's an early Johnny Pate production. Now, for you collectors out there, this was initially released on the Penny label in August of 62. You might own the Take 10 release that came out in December of 62, but I'm featuring the first press on the Penny label, and this is the intended B-side. It's a wonderful ballad. We go to August of 62 for this group called The Creations. The Creations on the Penny label, a song entitled We're in Love.
They're in love.
To their heavenly home. Let the
That group called The Creations, August 62 release. We're in Love is the name of the tune, featured on the original label, the Penny record label. Actually, there is a mistake. If those of you that saw the label in the webcam there, it says "Let the" on top of "We're in Love." That is not correct. But anyway, something got messed up on that. But the first press is on the Red Penny record label. You can also get it on the second press. It's a lot cheaper on the second press on the Take 10 label. Johnny G's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Got like a couple more requests to feature. Then we're going to sign off here. But here's a group from Phoenix, Arizona. They formed while they were stationed at the U.S. service base in Germany. Now, with their first release, which came out on Carl Hightower's Gay label, they were known as La Chimes. Then, with their second release on the Gay label, they were known as the La Chords, and that's the 45 that I'm featuring. This one charted regionally. This was number 12 on KRUX in Phoenix, Arizona. We go back to January 1962 for the La Chords on the Gay label, a song entitled To Be.
To be loved is the wish of the present. To be wanted is so much worthwhile. But to be with you is like heaven, and to feel the warmth of your smile. To be kissed with lips so sweet, so dear. To be held and to understand. To know that you alone want me. Oh, this makes me a very happy man. To be there when you are crying.
Comfort your aching heart.
To assure you, oh my darling,
We'll never, never, never part.
to be the hands you feel with, and the eyes with which you see. Our love has made us united. We'll be together eternally. Our love has made us united. We'll be together eternally.
Out of Phoenix, Arizona, they're called La Chords. La Chords there. January 1962 release, To Be is the name of that one on the Gay record label. They had later releases on the Take 5, and they backed up another artist by the name of Ladmo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Also on the Gay label, like a Christmas tune that he has on the label. Johnny G's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's go for a few more here. How about some early Diana Ross and the Supremes? Now, this is the B-side to their second release on Berry Gordy's Motown record label. This was before they had any hits. As we go to November of 62, the Supremes on Motown, and Diana Ross on lead, and their tune called Time Changes Things.
Funny how time changes, rearranges everything. For instance, how could I have known that you'd be 'cause now I want you. Funny how time changes. Funny how time rearranges. Funny how I want you.
That's Early Supremes from November 62. Time Changes Things. Diana Ross and the Girls, Motown Records for that one. Actually, you can argue that this is really their third release because it's documented that I Want a Guy was scheduled to come out on the Motown 1008, which would have made it their second record, but instead that record came out on the Tamla label. Now, I think there's some promos of Motown 1008. I've never seen them, but according to some of the Motown collectors, there are. But anyway, that's the deal. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime as we are winding down here on the show. And I got another request here, a request for California listener Métis Campoy. She wanted this group out of Los Angeles, California. They were previously members of a group called The Lions that recorded on the Rendezvous record label. You may know their song called Two Timing Lover on Rendezvous, but they were Horace Pookie Wooten and Charles Jackson, who were members of the West Coast Chimes, and also James Warren, who earlier was a member of the Youngsters. Then they added Ray Daughtery from the Furies. He recorded with the Furies on the Mac 4 label, and they changed their name to the Rasonics, and this one charted regionally. This was a number 16 on KRLA in Los Angeles back in mid-1963. So by request for Métis Campoy, we go to May of 63. They're called the Rasonics. It's on the Unity label, a song entitled Split Personality.
I've got a split personality that keeps on haunting me and change my thoughts from good to bad. Good side of me says I will never be free. Yes, but the bad side of me so sad. I've got a split personality that keeps on haunting me ever since that unfaithful night when I kissed you and said that we were through. Yes, and I'm sorry. I know I wasn't right. Darling, I love you. And this one thing I know is true, that in everything I do, I'll come out doing it just for you. Yes, but if you don't stop lying and jiving me around, I'm telling you, and baby, it's true, I'll have to put you down. I've got a split personality that keeps on haunting me and change my thoughts from good to bad. Good side of me says I will never be free. Yes, but the bad side of me so sad. Got a split personality that keeps on haunting me and change my thoughts from good to bad.
By request for Métis Campoy, those are the Rasonics, May 1963 on the Unity record label. A cool tune there, song entitled Split Personality. Now, they have other releases on the Little Larry label and the Lucky Token. I have both those 45s. They are good sounds. Those records. I'll have to find them for you, matey, and play them here on the show. 3 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. And up next, a group that has members from 4 other groups. So here is the equation. The Vibratones plus the Spirals plus Tony and the Raindrops plus Buddy Shepard and the Holidays. That equals this group called the Standards. And this was first pressed on the Magna record label, then it came out on the Chess label. They picked it up for national distribution, but the song was written by the bass of the group. His name is Fred Hodgkinson. This features the lead of Richie T. Sonos. Let's go to 1963. We are in the year of 63. They're called The Standards. I'm featuring it on the Magna label. A song entitled Hello Love.
Mama, 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 wah, wah, no, 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 mama, 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 wah, 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 no, no, baby, hello, love, been all day in your eyes, I've been to go astray, and they did, I will go, mama, 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 wah, 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 no, 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 hello, love, glad you're back to me, where you go.
From 1963, a group called The Standards there. Hello Love, the name of the tune on the Magna record label. They have another song, a nice tune called It Isn't Fair, that came out on the Magna label too. 2 more 45s to go before we sign off here. And this next group is out of Mount Vernon, New York. I actually found this 45 for 10 cents at the Yonkers Raceway Flea Market sometime in the late 1970s. The group would later record as the Jammers on the Jubilee record label, but back in April of 63, they were called the Mandells. These are the Mandells on the York label. A song entitled It's No Good, parentheses, Being Apart.
I sat there crying the whole night through. Every time, darling, I thought of you. It ain't no good, baby. No, it ain't no good. Being apart. I sat there mourning the whole day long. I sat there wishing nothing had ever gone wrong. It ain't no good, baby. No, it ain't no good. Being apart. I've got the blues.
There you go, with a 45 worth all of 10 cents for sure. They're called the Mandells. They're out of Mount Vernon, New York. From April 1963, on the York label, a song entitled It's No Good Being Apart. And that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to cool original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email. It's vinyltreasures@aol.com. Featured a lot of requests tonight. Still got more to work on. So if I have the 45 or the 78, I'll play it for you here on the program. If not, I'll look for the 45 as long as it's not more than a $3,000 45, because therefore then I can't afford it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tunes tonight, and I've been recording it here on OSB, so it's going to be up on my YouTube page if I have no copyright issues. You can also go to vinyltreasures.net. I have a website where you can stream or download the shows there. I have the shows that go back till I think 2015, but I'm going to have to take some off because I'm filling up that website pretty fast because I'm recording, I think, at a higher bit rate. So those are bigger files, but they sound better. Anyway, our closer for tonight is, believe it or not, from early 1966. This is a girl group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And they first recorded in 1962 on the Hack label. Then they did 2 on Ideal Records. And the song first came out on Ideal. It was a much slower version. I think it was maybe 1964. So then in 1966, they re-released it, a faster version of it. This group consisted of Patricia Allensworth, Mary Clemens, and Phyllis Walker. Collectively, they were known as the Arvettes. Our closer tonight is by the Arvettes from early 66 on the Ideal label, the second release of Pledge of Love, which I like. That's going to do it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the tunes tonight. Please tune in tomorrow night for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show. It all begins at 9 p.m. for Dave, 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies, and all the other shows during the week right here on Top Shelf Oldies. I will be back next Saturday night starting at 10 p.m. Thanks a lot, Charlene, for all your help. And again, last minute, I had a crazy day today, so I apologize for a couple of the hiccups tonight's show, but it's live radio, and I enjoy bringing you and sharing my record collection with you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners. So anyway, just want to say, everybody, have a safe and happy week. I'll see you here next Saturday starting at 10 p.m. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Flowers may blossom, bloom and fade away, as my love for you will always stay. Darling, I swear this is my pledge. Oh, love, oh yeah. Mountains may crumble, rivers may run dry, as my love for you will never die. Darling, I swear this is my pledge. Oh, are telling a lie, for you are mine, only love, I swear, by stars above. Seasons may change, no change in me, as my love for you will always be. Darling, I swear this is my pledge. Oh, Lord, oh yeah.
Okay, folks. Johnny G had a hiccup night. Did I say hiccup day? It was a hiccup night. So anyway, let me show you here. These are the Mandells. I forget what this record goes for, maybe $50, possibly. It's not in great shape, but what do you want for 10 cents at the Yonkers Raceway Flea Market? They were from that area, Mount Vernon, New York, the Mandells. And what did Daryl, you mentioned the group on, I don't know if they were the group on, they might have been the group on Jubilee. I know they were the Jammers on Jubilee. It's possible. I don't know. I have to check. I didn't really check. And this is the other record, because the slower one is a Styrene Ideal. This is the later press. I also have this on a white promo too, but this is how the stock copy looks by the Arvettes. Anyway, that's that's it for tonight, folks. Johnny G is all poop to pop. I gotta clean up the records here. Barbara's gonna help me file tomorrow, so Barbara's getting ready to help me file a lot of the records back, and we're going to be busy doing that tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed the tunes. I will see you here next Saturday. I have some 78s for you, Sir Hats, if you tune in and watch this. So thank you so much, all of you that stuck around, and if you go back and watch on the archive. But I greatly appreciate you tuned in tonight and checked out the show. So everybody, take care. I will see you next week. So long now.